I finished Daria, what, like 2 weeks ago, something like that. I might be wrong. But I just am coming on here to say that Daria has to be one of the best TV shows of all time. And yeah, I should have started this years ago. Like, my friends, they were like, oh, you're a lot like her and everything. And watching the show, I am Daria. Daria is me. Like, the humor and everything, like all the comebacks, like that's like very reminiscent of me and everything. And yeah, but I like that there's so much depth in the show. Like, yeah, like she can kind of come off as like she doesn't care about anybody, but there's also episodes, like people have said, where she kind of does care what people think about her and her appearance and everything. Like that episode where she does the contact lenses and stuff like that, and just like certain moments where you can tell that she kind of cares and everything, and some of it is like a mask to a degree. So I like that. And also the depth of her sister. I saw people on Twitter saying this, but they found a way to kind of show like how isolating being popular can be and everything, because she has moments where she's really smart and everything, but she kind of shuts that down and everything because of the insecurity with the looks are kind of so overwhelming and everything. And it's like they kind of pursue it like you can only be smart or pretty, like you can't really be both. So her kind of struggling with that and everything. I thought the whole dynamic with the parents was really interesting and everything, and their marriage, because they have some good moments but they don't. The dad definitely has some trauma and everything. But that one episode where they went and they had like that whole therapy session, and Daria kind of clocked everybody and their insecurities and all that, how her mom's supposed to work, her sister's issues, how her dad always wants to have the attention and everything. I'm like, that was a really good episode. That was a really good episode. And like the last episodes of Daria, I think it was like the very last one and everything, where she's supposed to go like visit her boyfriend, but she's going through it because of the childhood trauma and everything. Like that was a really good way to like end out the show. And there are 2 movies, and if you do watch the show, you got to watch them in between. I think one of them is in between season 4 and 5, and one of them is at the end. Something like that. But the 2 movies are really good, and I didn't know that happened until after I finished watching it. So then I had to go back and watch one, and I'm like, oh, that's the context and everything. That was great. Jane has some good moments as well. One thing that I did not care for was the whole Tom situation. Okay, and so yeah, this obviously has spoilers, but I'm really gonna get into it. So if you plan on watching the show, just come back to this part. But basically, Jane has a boyfriend called Tom. Daria doesn't like him at first and everything, and then they end up getting close and everything, and then he kisses her and everything, and she feels really bad about it, and she tells her friend about that, and they have a whole thing, and they kind of go into one of the movies like her friend being mad about it and Daria feeling away. Eventually her and Tom end up getting together, and I just don't like it because it seemed out of character for Daria to do that. I feel like Daria is such a good friend and she wouldn't do that to her friend and everything. And just Tom, he very much kind of seemed like pompous, very arrogant, like thinking he's better than everyone else. Like he really got mad when Daria clocked him on that whole situation about, the nepotism and him getting into the school so early, and it doesn't really work that way for her. So you had that situation as well. So we can talk about that. So yeah, I didn't really like that whole situation and everything. I didn't care for the musical episode. There were some episodes I didn't care for, and I wish that there was more of Daria, honestly, because there's only 5 seasons. If we could have got 2 or 3 more seasons, like that really would have ate. But yeah, it's such a good show. It's such a good show, so I definitely want to say that. Could we have more representation of Black people? Sure, because Jody and the guy that she with, I think it's Mac or something like that. We don't really see them a whole lot. Like you see them every once in a while, so to have more representation of them would be nice and everything. But yeah, so like I will definitely say that it was cool to see there was moments where her perception of things were kind of challenged and everything, and when she was forced to think in new ways and how she grows all the way throughout the show. I thought that was interesting. But this is such a good show. This is such a good show because it's a cartoon that has substance to it, and all of them kind of tie in and everything. You could watch an episode of this offhandedly and you could enjoy it, but there are storylines that do kind of get implanted more towards the back half of the show and everything that all tie in, and I just wish we had more cartoons like that, like stuff with storylines, stuff with depth. I like stuff like The Simpsons, for example, but 9 times out of 10 there's no real storylines involved in it and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I would like MASH. That's why I like watching stuff like Grey's Anatomy, for example, or stuff like Sex and the City. Like these are things that have storylines involved in them. Okay, you get invested in the characters, invested in the storylines, like all these episodes kind of tie into one way, and like what happens in one episode affects the next. So that's what I really liked about the show, is that there was depth to it, is that I felt like I could relate to Daria and everything like that. And representation in media is so important because Daria is me, like I already said. And also like Darlene from Roseanne, like I kind of relate to that character as well. So like it's just nice to like watch something and actually feel seen, because a lot of stuff that I watch is like there's like a trait or two in the characters that I find relatable, but a lot of stuff is largely unrelatable to me. So I think finding something that's relatable in that way, it was great. It's just such a good cartoon. It's such a good cartoon. This is going to be one of my favorite shows of all time. I might have to do an updated video of my top 5 shows of all time because it's kind of changed. Some stuff might have to be taken out. Some stuff maybe added in. Maybe should do top 10. I don't know. But if you've seen Daria, let me know what you guys think of it down below. But yeah, this was excellent. This was excellent. I binged it. And what an experience that it was for me. What a life-changing moment that it was for me. And so I just had to make its own video because it ate. I'm sorry.